Now we get underway with our second pre-final on the last day of competition. It's the Junior Road Tax Day 2 pre-final. And here's your grid. Timo Jungling put it on pole position by 6/100ths earlier on today. He will start alongside on the front row, Casper Schormans from the Netherlands. Mateo Dankovic and Boluet ran out row number 2. Thomas Behrman and Thijs van Wijk ran out the top 3 rows. Armand Hamilton and Laura Bubanova ran out the top 4 rows. Boris Maximov and Krik Knoren complete the top 10. Matthias Jaderup, Max Cuthbert, Cameron Nelson, Taze Stevens, Martin Lischner, Mika van der Paver, Tino Sidler, Archie Barrow, Olivia Jonkers, Max Sidersky, Freddie Ingram, Ruben Verheyen, Luca Brima, Philip Lenk, Sebastian Kosch, Kaz Tobben, Adam Eckstein, Knut Nielsen, Jake Menton, Mate Kobahidze. Big thank you to Vaco for the bottle of wine this morning. I'll enjoy that, and so will my mum later on next week when I get back home. Thomas Ingram Hill, Maxim Smith, Callum Gosh, Kenneth Van Moorkerker, Vlad Tomenchuk and Jake Menton round out the 35 strong grid, set to get back into battle over what will be 13 minutes plus an additional lap. There have been a couple of front fairing penalties in the Minimax pre-final that has just been completed. So yesterday in both pre-finals, both the pre-final and the final, it was Boluet that had double delight yesterday. He was smiling like the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. Big shout out to Stain his dad for the Kambuka cold thermos flask and also the hot thermos flask last night. And glad you enjoyed your trip over in Scotland earlier on this week. So red lights are on the gantry for 13 minutes plus an additional lap. It is very, very close in the championship standings coming into this final day of competition. And I make it the Boluet, after 2 drop rounds, is effectively the de facto leader. Now, let's look at it from this perspective. There are drivers who have already qualified for Bahrain. Casper Schormans was the first junior road tax driver to get a ticket for Bahrain, courtesy of the Road Tax Asia Festival in Langkawi last December. But Louet yet to get a ticket. Radenkovic and Jungling already have done so through the Euro Trophy. But 35 drivers, 13 minutes plus an additional lap. Revs rise, are we ready? Lights are out first time. Good start by Jungling. Schormans has got Radenkovic up the inside. He's trying to go for the race lead. Louet also trying to get through. So is Behrman, as they are 2 abreast, 2 by 2, hurrah, through turn number 3. Couple of drivers going really, really wide and round the outside at turn number 4. Very much a scrabble for real estate going into that turn 3, 4, 5 complex. Oh, someone a bit wide at the back end of the field. That's Mate Kobahidze, I believe. Into turn 8. And the leader has already scarped away to the tune of about 4 or 5 kart lengths. Now down into turn 10 on the opening lap. Going to be interesting to see how it all develops. Jungling leads. Radenkovic. Behrman rounds out the top 3. 4th, it's Schormans. 5th, it's the 242 of Hungary's Armand Hamilton. So, across the lines to complete the opening lap. Jungling leads. 2nd, it's Radenkovic. Behrman, Schormans, Hamilton, Louet. Maximov, Nelson having a good job. A good progression up the field. He's up to 8th. Thijs van Wijk and Slovakia's Laura Bubanova now rounds out the top 10. Max Cuthbert is having a better day in the office. Casper Schormans getting a bit close for comfort. Looks over his left shoulder, his right shoulder, whilst looking where Hamilton was, and Behrman was immediately to his left-hand side. So Jungling has set the fastest lap. No surprise at all because he's the leader. He's actually punching a hole in that dirty air in front of him. Or the clear air in front of him. Bit of a squabble going through into Cafe Corner. Oh, someone's got a spring in their step, and that is the 246. Thijs van Wijk getting through. I think that was on Cameron Nelson. As Thomas Behrman really coming under the kibosh. He's dropped to 4th position. He's dropped to way, way back behind Casper Schormans. There's a bit of a squabble. Laura Bubanova involved in that one. She was 9th across the line once again after lap 2. The driver's got to be very, very careful. Max Cuthbert nearly getting caught out coming out of turn 3. As there is another change for position. Oh, that was textbook from Boluet. Mugged both Boaz Maximov and Thomas Behrman. Going down into turn 6. Behrman gets back through on the young Dutchman. First season, I might add, as a rookie in juniors. Boaz Maximov has really started to shine a bit more in the latter part of this season. Had some good results yesterday. So the drivers make their way through around this 1,360-metre circuit at an electric pace. Krit Knoren, fastest lap of the race so far, 57.146. Make that now Kasper Schurmans in second, who's managed to slingshot past Matej Radenkovic for second place. Into turn 6, there's the move for the lead. Schurmans is through, but Jungling will not let it go. He won't hang back, he won't hold back thereof. And now the top 5 are very, very close together. And I see a certain Damsed Racing livery at the back of this train. Welcome to the party, Boluet, as he's behind Armin Hamilton, who's 4th. 3rd, it's Matej Radenkovic. 2nd, it is Timo Jungling. And leading the way, the young man from the Netherlands. And there's the move for 4th. Good job there. Well read by Boluet to get through on Armin Hamilton. This title will also go down to the wire. Oh, contact between Schurmans and Jungling. And Schurmans turned around. It was like the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. And Kasper Schurmans' title aspirations might have just ended there. He is slow coming out of turn 6 on the Europalan. He's trying to make sure, see if the card is all okay. But not exactly what Kasper Schurmans needed at that point. Jungling went for the move. Kasper Schurmans defended, and they both came together into turns 1 and 2. Now that's changed everything. Radenkovic has the race lead. And now Jungling and Schurmans, oh dearie me. That is going to be pretty significant with regards to this. And you've got to wonder what is going to happen now. And the reason being is that Boluet was smiling like the Cheshire Cat last night. Today, he knows it's about doing exactly what he needs to do. So Radenkovic leads the way as we're on lap number 6 of this race. Boluet has got to do something. He has. He's got past Timo Jungling. That's now 3rd position. And effectively, the top, I'm looking at it from this perspective, based on current drop scores. Timo Jungling now in 4th place. That puts Boluet in the lead by 5 points at the moment. But Radenkovic has... Oh, and Luet gets a little bit robust on Timo Jungling. Thomas Behrman gets through on the pair of them. Will the 2:59 from Essex get through? Yes, he does. Hamilton gets through. Luet drops 3 places, but sweeps straight back up the inside of Timo Jungling to now take 5th place back into his grasp. This is making things even more dramatic, and I know for a fact that the Luet family, who are here in person, mum and dad, are probably on tenterhooks right now. 6 1/4 minutes still to go. Leading the way, it is Radenkovic. 2nd, it's Schurmans. 3rd, it's Hamilton. 4th, it's Behrman. 5th, it's Luet. Silhouette now has a bit of an almighty mountain to climb. That just goes to show how quickly things can change. The unpredictability factor rearing its head once again. Kasper Schürmanns is closing in to within, and he's got the lead. Radenkovic has now lost the lead to Kasper Schürmanns. Boluet is also factoring in. There's a change almighty here. Right, that's Armand Hamilton in third place. Fourth, that's Timo Jungling. So that puts Jungling on 49 points so far in this race. Boluet at the moment is running in sixth position. All I'm going to say is this. This title will go down to the wire next time out in their final. And that puts at the moment, if Kasper Schürmanns wins the final, on basing it on 2 dropped scores this season, it puts him 1 point ahead of Boluet for the title. But the thing is, it doesn't matter if Schürmanns takes the title. It doesn't matter if Radenkovic or Jungling takes the title. As long as Boluet is the highest placed non-qualifier so far for the grand finals, he books his place on Team Belgium in Bahrain this year, considering that young man only started karting 3 years ago. And that was during the global pandemic. Went into juniors and stayed there ever since. Someone's just had a moment coming out of turn number 7 off of the Europlan. Just trying to keep an eye on which driver that might be. And that is, that's Dave Stevens, who's currently, who was 9th after that, before that moment. Now let's see how things have changed. So Schürmanns still leads. Radenkovic right on his rear bumper. Jungling third. Thomas Behrmann fourth. Boluet has moved up into fifth. And that puts him and Schürmanns level on points with 1 race to go. If Louet makes up another position, the tables turn in his favour. But with 3 minutes to go, plus an additional lap, Thomas Behrmann is about 5.5 tenths of a second up the road. And the reason being, here we go, into turn 10, up the inside. Now, who was that? That was the 253 Cam Nelson getting through, probably on Thijs van Wijk. As we have got a black and white warning flag being shown to Thijs Stevens. Boluet now, as I said, he's up into 5th position, but he's within 1.5 tenths of Timo Jungling. And he's got Thomas Behrmann right in front of him as well. If Louet can get past the pair of them in the next 2 minutes and 10 seconds, plus an additional lap, that'll give him 50 points. And that will put him 2 ahead of Schürmanns when you look into 15 races minus 2 deductions heading into the final race of the season. So there has been a change. Behrmann is still in 3rd, but who is in 4th? It's Boluet. Louet has made the switch. This is where people are going to be on tender hooks. I know, Stain, and you're good lady, you'll be on tender hooks. Jan Dams is probably having kittens right now. And here comes the 265. Right, Louet's now 3rd. Louet is now 3rd. Jungling up into 4th position. They've both got past Thomas Behrmann. And that gives... I am on absolute tender hooks right now. As much as I talk about the racing, even I have an emotional investment with the people that I've met over the years. since my first European gig, funnily enough, at this circuit. And just to think, 2018, at this time of year, I was asked by a certain Dave Ritson to come here, and then on Saturday night, I get announced as the official commentator. Right, change for third has just happened. Youngling slingshots past Louette into turn 2. But if it stays as it is, Bo Louette will have the slightest of provisional margins to contend with. He'll be 1 point ahead of Shawmans going into this afternoon's final. 10 seconds on the timer remaining, and our leaders have scampered away into the distance. Shawmans yet to win a title this season. Didn't have the best run of luck in the Euro Trophy this year. Radenkovic went and capped it off with a great win, a winning season as the European champion. He is now trying to close on in. They're coming out of the final corner. Last lap board is out. 2 tenths cover the top 2. Who's in third? Louette's back there. Louette's back there in third. Youngling's dropped to 5th behind Behrman. And Behrman now trying to keep... who is that behind them? Boris Maximov. Maximov is now up into 6th position. He's absolutely tried to reel them in front of him, and he's done exactly that at this point. So with the final lap underway, Kasper Schaumanns leads Matej Radenkovic through turn 9 for what will be the 15th and final time around this 1,360-metre circuit. It's not all set in stone, because the title will go down to the wire this afternoon in the final. But out of the final turn, Kasper Schaumanns wins the penultimate round of the season by a fraction. 0.163 ahead of Matej Radenkovic. Bo Louette, by my calculations, has a slight 2-point advantage provisionally going into the final race of the season. Timo Youngling, Thomas Behrman, Boris Maximov, Cameron Nelson, Krik Noren, Max Cuthbert, Thijs van Wijk, Thijs Stevens, Mika van der Pavert, Thomas Ingram Hill, Armand Hamilton, Tino Sidler, Max Sadurski, Ruben Verheyen, Knud Nielsen, Laura Bubenova, Matthias Jaderup, Jake Menton. Then we have the likes of Ollie Jonkers. Oliver Jonkers, in other words, folks. That's the 212 from Dams Racing. I did ask him what he wanted me to call him by on his first name. He said, call me Ollie from now on. So it's stuck. Philip Lenk, Vlad Tominchuk. Then we've got Freddie Ingram, Luca Prima, Sebastian Koch, Adam Eckstein, Mate Kobehidze, Archie Buttle, Martin Lichner, Kenneth Van Markerker being the last of the 32 finishers. Jake Menton is showing up twice on the timing screens for those wondering. But Maxime Smith, Gaz Tobin and Callum Ghosh unfortunately retiring on laps 5, 4 and 3. But the title will be decided in the final later on today.